Damon Hill and Johnny Herbert are friends. They work together all the time, and at the moment they have a podcast via the race called Stay on Track. In this podcast they chat about Formula 1's current events. It's not really my taste, but some people enjoy it. In one of the episodes they talked about George Russell. Those opinions were a little controversial, so some Twitter channels used those quotes on the X platform called Twitter. Russell fans were not amused and asked Damon Hill if he had actually said what was quoted there, and he firmly denied it. As it turned out, it was recorded on a podcast, and so the receipts were kept. I'm going to take you through the whole ordeal, and I'll give you my opinion about what was said by Hill and Herbert as well, as I don't agree with it at all. I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. Let's start with what was tweeted, and then later we'll compare it to what was said. A fellow Max Verstappen fan on Twitter called MV33 Racing posted a picture with the following quotes. Max Verstappen will replace Russell even if he wins the WDC. I've heard rumours that Verstappen isn't very happy right now at Red Bull. He'll sign with Mercedes and the one who will leave will be Russell even if he wins the World Championship. George is always temporary. The picture had those 3 headlines spread out for effect, and it didn't seem to be a big deal. There were another 5 or 6 accounts that did the same thing, as usually happens on social media. But then, George Russell fans weren't pleased with what was quoted, but instead of checking the source, the podcast they were in, they accused MV33 Racing of making things up and called him a fraud. Now, this account is a Max fanboy account, just like this YouTube channel. Therefore, it gathered quite a few enemies along the way. It's not that the channel is toxic, it just glazes Max a lot and calls out the BS from the other drivers. It's not much, but it's honest work, right? One Twitter user with the handle RayLH44 retweeted the original post, Hill F1, you said this? To which Damon Hill, the 1996 Formula 1 champion, answered, absolute BS. Therefore, the people who didn't like this account celebrated this reaction as a win. But what was the truth in this situation? MV33 Racing quickly posted a short clip where Damon Hill literally said that George Russell was always temporary. But that wasn't enough for the angry Russell fans. By the way, a lot of users with 44 in the name also got involved. Which is strange, because I thought they didn't like Russell. They didn't like Woody when Hamilton and Russell were teammates at Mercedes. That's for sure. It was clear there was a bit of a witch hunt going on against a Verstappen channel. Therefore the tweet was initially deleted. But I managed to find it with my expert detective skills. Twitter user MV33 Racing then received a clip from a friendly Red Bull fan where the conversation between Herbert and Hill clearly reveals it all. I'll show you 2 short clips as this footage belongs to the race, where you can find the whole Stay on Track podcast, but I won't post a full clip as I don't want a copyright strike. I've never received one in 3 years of creating, and I like to keep it that way.
It wasn't like Toto was desperate to re-sign George. It was a little bit of Mexican standoff.
Yeah. And then I've heard little rumours again that with Max not being very happy where he is he going to be taken by Mercedes, which means they're going to get rid of George? I think
so. George is always temporary.
That's awful.
He's got the opportunity now to win a championship.
Yeah.
But that's not going to guarantee him his future at Mercedes.
MV33 Racing used this clip as a receipt to prove once and for all what Damon Hill and Johnny Herbert had said. As you can see and read here, the 2 friends did say everything that was quoted, and to be honest, it's not even that bad what they were saying. The Verstappen to Mercedes story has been doing the rounds for over a year now, and Russell had to fight with Wolff pretty hard to get an agreement. 2 former F1 drivers yapping about all kinds of stuff is a recipe for a few unhinged opinions here and there. That's probably why people like it. What I don't understand is the need to have this on record in the form of a podcast, which is visible for the whole world, and then to deny saying it. Perhaps the paraphrasing wasn't up to scratch, but the outcome is the same. If what they claimed in this podcast is true, Russell will be out of a seat at the end of this season despite an almost certain title. They say it's because George was always a temporary choice. Toto wants Kimi and Max. This whole story is a bad look, especially for a world champion. Like, Johnny Herbert from Essex was always a little beyond help, to be fair. He was a steward and sold interviews to gambling sites. Races he had been stewarding. You can't make that shit up. But Damon Hill should have known better than to deny saying what he said. I think a world champion has a certain stature to hold to. When I see him beefing with Elon Musk on Twitter all the time, I wonder if that man isn't sinking to my level a bit too much. It's not very classy. And that's the last thing I'll say about it. What I do want to discuss is the subject they were talking about. Is there any truth to the Verstappen Mercedes stories? I think Hill and Herbert are completely off on this one. I don't know where they get their information from, but what I've read from all the main players in this story is that things will stay exactly the way they are now. It's as if these guys are so out of the loop with Formula 1, despite knowing loads of people in the paddock, that their guess about things is as good as mine. Toto Wolff has stated he's positive about their lineup. In fact, he talked about the rumours in Japan, saying that these rumours were stupid, as they have the perfect lineup already, which means he's moving away from pursuing Verstappen. Toto Wolff pushed for Antonelli in the seat to nurture him for the future. You don't team a talent like that up with teammate destroyer Max Verstappen. Kimi is doing a good job against Russell, but he will most likely not beat him in most races, which is fine. With the situation Mercedes is in now, a dominant car and a balanced lineup, it would be madness to get the bad publicity of sacking one driver to put a new guy in, even if it is Max Verstappen. It would rub a lot of people the wrong way if he did, and we know Mercedes is all about the image. And this would look very, very bad. Therefore, I think the lineup for Mercedes will stay the same in 2027. Max Verstappen has come out telling a story about how he and Dieter Mateschitz had a conversation about Max always driving for Red Bull, his whole career. Verstappen says this is his dream as well, and he'll try to stick to it. Yes, the results are disappointing now, and there's a lot of work, but he keeps saying that he loves working with the team, and he's quite proud of what the Red Bull Powertrains team has accomplished, to get the engine on track and working pretty well. Those are not the words of someone who thinks about jumping ship after one bad season. Therefore, I think Herbert and Hill are talking a load of crap, which is pretty normal in podcasts. If you get called out for something in a podcast, just ignore it. Nobody will care about it. The denial made this a much bigger story, which is the opposite of what they wanted to achieve, I think. Anyway, what do you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to see more. If you want to have a more live interaction with me, I do a live stream every Saturday at 8 o'clock Dutch time. See you there. Take care now. Doei doei.